I like the pearlescent sheen of the Albas. It is a warm off-white coloration where it gets its name after first light, but it is painted on. Just after weeks of use, there's some chipping. I have dropped them, however, it's only after I noticed the chips in the paint. The paint wasn't able to bond to the full metal body of the earbuds. Without the chip paint, the Alba looks interesting, yet understated. The build of the Alba is so small that they don't stand out in my ears, and they are very lightweight. They fit in my ears comfortably, and I have worn them without issues for over 6 hours. The cable itself is soft braided silver affair, terminating in a detachable 2-pin connector, and I still prefer MMCX because it can freely rotate, and hate that most IEMs seem to be moving towards 2-pin, which has a much higher insertion rating to be able to swap out cables more often. But really, how many times are you swapping out cables? These days, what we use to listen to music are smartphones. However, you'll be hard-pressed to find a headphone jack on almost any of them, even the flagships. Thankfully, MezeAudio includes a 3.5 to USB-C adapter, that way you don't have to buy another thing. I'm a little worried about whether it lasts, especially since I put my phone in my back pocket. While the MezeAudio provides everything you would need to listen to the Albas, are you going to like how they sound? It's just one of the many ways we can determine what products might sound good to most people. With the timbre scoring very high, it's unlikely many people will take issue with the tuning. Distortion is impressively low enough that most people are unlikely to notice it. Some people may find issues with the immersiveness of 3.3, but we find that it's not a common problem with IEMs. Not terribly surprising when they pipe sound directly into your ear canals. Mostly a problem for some of the gamers out there. More on that in the gaming section. If you want more objective measurements and frequency response graphs, our testing shows that the MezeAudio Alba follows the sound guy's headphone preference curve pretty closely in some places. The bass is not as raised as our preference. There are scoop sections at the 90Hz and 200Hz mark. This is not a bad thing, it's just an indication that the sound is intentionally shaped. The mids have a dip from 150Hz to 500Hz, which can result in some of the vocals sounding a bit underemphasized. There's also a dip in the treble at the 12kHz mark. There's a slight elevation at the 5kHz to 7kHz, which can sound sibilant or harsh depending on your preferences and anatomy. A preference curve isn't gospel, but it is a good reference point for context. Now for my personal experience with the MezeAudio Alba, to help you decide if the sound matches your taste or is something you'd find interesting. And the earbuds don't lose punch when the vocals and violins are playing in the foreground. For mids and vocals, there's a great amount of separation. However, because they sound narrow, it's almost as if there is a wide but single source of sound, where the sounds feel like they pan from left to right incredibly fast. Despite sounding narrow, the detail of the MezeAudio Alba creates an illusion of depth that made the MezeAudio Alba painful to listen to, like the lyrics that start with S and T's, such as step and balls. The MezeAudio Alba performs well while gaming. Unfortunately, they do better depending on the type of game you're playing. For story-based games, the vocals stand out in dialogue-focused games, feeling forward in the mix even in busy scenes. For cozy games where you try to get out of depth you gain from Raccoon, since the Albas can be painfully sibilant at times, it does become fatiguing to listen to for long periods. In action games like Claire Obscure Expedition 33, where localizability or the ability to place the position of a sound isn't a priority, they do well. Bass from explosions have enough pressure that you can feel the rumble, while being able to hear some of the dialogue. Unlike most IEMs, you don't have to choose between the USB-C connector or a 3.5mm version, while some need you to buy a third-party adapter. The included DAC or USB-C to 3.5mm adapter is a godsend, especially with the disappearing headphone jack.